processing quickly. Oh, that's why. You're a perfect zombie. No wonder you're running out of stuff to do. Okay, I need a few more zombies up in our vineyard then. Nope, not that. That and that. Okay, then I need to take everything but the skull and the bone. I'm gonna go sleep first. Still need to figure out Miss Charm's questline, but I'm working on other stuff at the moment. Could make a whole bunch of bread, but I mean, technically the bread's 15, that's really good, compared to like the 5 or whatever the apple gives you. Yeah. Okay, let's improve some organs. This is probably going to take a bit. Oh, never mind, we don't have enough shards. Well, that's a dampener on plans. Okay, I need a place to store. Stuff. Okay, 8 flitch, 6 nails, 2 beams. Flitch, nails, beams, 8, 6, 2. Alrighty, there we go. And then this one will be where I store important parts as I'm working on specific bodies. Problem is, I need more sin shards. Alrighty, we'll have some more bodies coming in with all that. Let's clear some space. Haven't gotten any dark organs in a while, but we did get what we needed for the Inquisitor. We need to decrease the amount of intestines we have. That's like a super good pair or set right there. Actually takes away red skulls. So that one we're definitely keeping. That's a -1 white. We'll decompose that. And these two that are just red skulls, we'll decompose those as well. Because some red on body is good, too much is actually bad. That's a -1 white. And that one's no white. See, you'd have a couple of brain like this, which is a 3 and 3, with something like this, which is a -2 and 3. Because if I can do that, that would work. Alrighty, before we get too much farther, let's dismantle all this. Oh, I have the distillation cube too, don't I? Cube 2. Bunch of stone, some complex iron parts, and some steel parts. Steel, complex, and stone, huh? Ooh, yes, these two things. Alchemy Decomposer and Alchemy Workbench. So let me quickly make a note for those. Okay, I need 10. 10 plank, 6 iron parts, and 4 flasks. But then I also have the decomposer. Which will be 2... Is that polished stone or polished marble? Stone. And 10 planks and 6 parts. Perfect. But then the distillation cube 2, 30 stone, 4 parts, 4 steel parts. Four parts, 4 steel parts. Gotcha, I need some more steel. Steel. Steel parts. Ceramic bowls. Of course I'm missing something else. My goodness, it's one long string of crafts in this game. Hey, Becca, welcome. Glad you could stop by. Okay, it was... stone, that's what I needed. How am I doing? I'm doing fairly well, enjoying some Graveyard Keeper. I would say I'm in the end game finally, and unfortunately at this stage of the game it's like everything requires everything else. Just like any typical good game design is. It's just sometimes frustrating being the player trying to get through it all. How have you been? It's been a while since you've stopped in. Distillation cube 2. Ooh, I have a perfect spot for 2 of them right here. Maybe I should make a second one. That's a good idea. Need some more steel parts though before I do that. Could be better. Oh no, your Xbox died. That stinks. I'm sorry to hear that. Is it fixable or is it like dead? Okay, I was down here because I needed to make more tenant space. Make room for some more tenants when they come in and decide to visit us. Forever. That's a decent heart. Somewhat decent intestines. Alright, in theory, Donkey should be bringing us a new body any moment now. Six and 4, huh? That makes you a 10 skull, even with the head gone. There we go. Seven shards. Perfect. Anything special on you? That would be a no. Alrighty, let's harvest this guy. With me needing to make some new food, because this is ridiculous how many apples I'm having to eat. I could just jump up to the refugee camp and take a whole bunch of the dough up there, couldn't I? And then just cook it in my oven. Hey, that's an idea. Don't know if it is or not. Can't really afford the repair at the moment. Ah, gotcha. That I can completely and totally understand. Aha, three, another three. What? No, that might be the other one I was looking at. Oop, bad brain. -2. Take that one. Take that one. All right, let's reduce these. The heart going there. Let's mix up a little bit of brain juice. Oop. Alrighty, there we go. And in that time, how much did you do? Almost all of it. So you do operate quicker than the other one does. Cool. Since you operate quicker, I'm just going to start plugging and chugging. Ooh, Snake! He's about to arrive, so we can actually do something with him today. And I need to sleep and I have no food on me. But we did get Snake's ritual room set up, so let's go talk to him and then I think call it a day. Hey there, Snake. About the ritual. This place is scary. So, what do you think of the place? I'm impressed, especially this pumpkin head. What a sick mind you have. I am a graveyard keeper, dude. You realize that, right? Got the place checked. Now I just need some devoted followers. Oh, and I also need a damask sword. How's that gonna help you? You'll see. Just forge one, or buy one at the mountain fort. Okay. Damask sword? That looks fancy. This stuff I'm looking for. Did you know where I can find the things I'm looking for? It was very easy. I actually didn't search for them. Just spent an evening in the pub at the town. Everything was in the rumors. The Mirror of Pride, everyone knows that the bishop carries it everywhere. People say the mirror helps him talk to his boss. Haha. An internal burning coal, the Inquisitor's guard told me that that's his master's most precious artifact. He carries it around with him in his pocket. It's burning him all the time, and that's why he's always so angry. A salty fork. Your friend the merchant has one of those. It's weird. We normally just use spoons in the town. Or our hands. Apparently it helps him eat a lot. Thank you. I hate politeness. Okay. So about the necklace, nothing else there. About the ritual, nothing else there. Mountain forts. Or forge one. Oh, this is a whole lot of stuff. Okay, we finally got another quest step progress there. Grab all the stuff on the ground. Wow, almost those chests are almost all full as well. Okay, quick sleep. And that's all for today. Thanks for showing up, everybody. Real talk segment for today is actually something inspired by my wife. She gave me the idea earlier today, and I'm going to run with it. So I've mentioned in the past, my wife is an author. She writes science fiction fantasy that is very, very much Christian focused and Christian based. Not as something you hear every day, Christian science fiction, but it's what she writes, and she's had some really good success with it, actually. She posts on Instagram about her stories fairly routinely. And one thing that she feels fairly strongly in is that she is a steward of his story. Her stories that she writes are, yes, she's the writer of them, but in a similar way to the Bible, kind of, and I'm going there. In a similar way to the Bible, you have human writers, but the books are biblically inspired. And there's many times my wife has wondered how she's able to write something like this and how good it is, or something just comes to her mind and she has it and it takes off. So she very much feels like she is a steward of God's story that he's gifted her with. So using that as the example, my streaming, my channel, this community that I'm in the process of building, I'm very, very much at the beginning stages of it, because content creation nowadays is an oversaturated market and growth is slow. But I'm doing my best to trust God with it. I am doing my best to be faithful to what God's calling is. It was, many years ago where I felt like I was called to have a Christian / faith focused stream and be a Christian content creator. That was a long time ago, and had problems then and didn't get to do content creation until later. And back in, I think it was 2018, was my first opportunity to do streaming, become a Christian content creator. I had a stream on the Mixer platform. That's where I started off, was Mixer, the Microsoft Twitch equivalent. So sad that platform ended up dying. I had to stop before the platform died, fortunately, because that would have been interesting. But I started off okay, but I didn't end well with that season of my life. I think I started off with a prayer before some of my streams, but not all of them. And I very quickly got into the mindset that it was my stream, and I completely forgot about God and the content creating. So it wasn't Christian content creating, it was just content creating. And I ended up not being able to stream anymore due to a worsening chronic illness, which I've talked about before, and I'll very much most likely talk about again. So my time at Mixer was about 6 months. And as far as the ministry and the purpose of it went, a resounding failure in every sense of the word. Was I a success on Mixer for my short time there? Yes. But my ultimate purpose, my ultimate reason for being a content creator, at least my ultimate purpose of what it should have been, I completely failed at. Completely. So then fast forward multiple years, after a very bad video game addiction that almost cost me my marriage. That's how bad it was. I feel God's call to go back into content creation and do streaming again. And I had zero idea how that was even going to be possible. Because at this point and during this time, I was completely video game free. I didn't know how I was going to be a streamer, much less even look at a video game again. I pretty much no video games at all. I wasn't even watching any Twitch or any video game content on YouTube. That's literally how far I cut everything out of my life. So after a long process of praying and thinking and then finally coming to acceptance and of God's calling, and I was able to, over time, approach my wife, heal the trust that had been broken, spoke with the counselor that we've been going to for a while, and get to a point where I was able to start content creation again. And now, yes, it is my stream and my community. In a similar way to my wife and her books, it's ultimately not my channel, my streams, my community. It's God's stream, God's channel, God's community. I'm just the steward of it. I'm the one doing the work that He's called me to do. Do I someday hope to be able to earn some money from all this content creation and stuff? Yes. But that's very much a sub goal. It's not the main goal. If I never earned money at all, it's still something I would do for as long as my wife is comfortable with it and God calls me to do it. So that's why I think since day one, I've had a prayer at the beginning of every single stream. That was something I was very much called to do. This whole Real Talk segment that I do was kind of a sub thought that came in a little afterwards. Because my first plan with my stream was to talk to people who came through and talk about Christian and other topics. But being the baby content creator I didn't have anybody come through. I occasionally do, and I have talked to a few people about a few different topics, but nothing too in-depth yet. I hope to expand this Real Talk segment to be something more of like, if someone has a problem, we could have like a dialogue and I can help in whatever way they need. Or if somebody has a question, I can turn that into a Real Talk segment subject. But it was a few weeks into it when my wife kind of suggested I should do something else instead of just pray and then play, which is what I was doing. So this whole Real Talk thing became a thing. And I feel comfortable in my calling with the prayer beforehand, this Real Talk segment. And then I also added a Bible verse at the end of all my YouTube videos that I'm posting. So this is all me being a good steward of God's calling. And whatever it is that you're doing in life, even if it's your normal everyday job, that's the job God's given to you, and you are called to be a good steward of that job. If He's given you a family, you're called to be a good steward of that family. If He's given you a lot of financial blessing, you're called to be a steward of those financial blessings. Ultimately, everything is God's. He gives us stuff, and we are called to be good stewards of it. And that reminds me of the Bible verse. I forget where they are. Unfortunately, I've always sucked at memorizing the locations of Bible verses, but there is a story in the Bible. It's the parable of the talents, where one servant was given 10 talents, another servant was given 5 talents, and another servant was given 1 talent. And talents was a monetary unit of measurement, a certain amount of money at the time. The 10-talent servant was a good steward of his money and increased it, then gave it back to his master. The 5-talent servant was a good steward, increased his money and gave it back to his master. The 1-talent servant went, buried it in a field. Then when his master came back, dug it up and gave it back as it was. He did nothing with what the master had given him. So, and it doesn't matter if you've been given a little bit or a lot of it, because everyone's given different. Be a good steward of it. Invest it. Use what God has given you and increase that and give it back to Him. It doesn't always have to be money specifically. It can be, like I said, family. It can be job. It can be whatever. Thank you. My wife just looked it up. It's Matthew 25:14 through 30. Thank you for that. So that's the verse for that parable. And that parable is a perfect illustration of what my wife does and what I'm in the process of and trying to do. Being good stewards with what God has given us. So hopefully this is a good challenge and a good example and picture of something you can do in your life. Sometimes, I know this is the case for me, it's not always apparent what God has given you at first. Or you could be, again, just like me in the past, you can waste it. You can go bury the talent in the field, then come back and return nothing. The Bible is full of examples and truths that are timeless. They may seem old, worldly, ancient, and outdated, but there's a reason why it's called timeless truths. They apply no matter what in our life. So if you've been given talents, both literally and figuratively, talents in terms of abilities and talents in terms of a unit of measure or monetary gain or something like that, use it. Be a good steward of what God has given you. Use it, increase it, and then return it twofold. And just like the example of the third servant in that parable, don't let fear overtake you. There's a reason the enemy uses fear so much. It's because it's one of the most effective paralytics in the world. One of the most effective ways of making us paralyzed and not do what we need to. So if you are in a situation like I have been at many times in my life, where you are paralyzed by fear, pray to God. Goodness knows that's helped me with fear. Pray to God, ask for help with the fear, talk to a friend about the fear, talk to a pastor about the fear, talk to a counselor about the fear. Because talking about it removes so much of its power and control over you. And then be a good steward with what God has given you. That's what I have today. Oh, gotcha. My wife wrote another note down. Don't forget to tell your audience to read Stargonauts by C.E. Stone. That's her book series that she's created. It's called Stargonauts, spelled just like it sounds, by author C.E. Stone. Faith-filled sci-fi. Anyway, hopefully everyone has a good day and that this Real Talk segment blessed you. See you next time.